Garmin's just announced a new model in their inReach Satellite Communicator lineup, the inReach Messenger, and with it also a new app called Messenger, which will soon work with a number of recent inReach devices. This new app aims to more seamlessly mesh your network connectivity so that it will use satellite messaging as previous, but also leverage cellular or Wi-Fi networks if within range. This is ideal when you are in sometimes viable cellular coverage, saving you satellite messages or time. Meanwhile, the new Messenger device is an entirely different form factor for Garmin, which has historically put inReach antennas in their handheld lineup, as well as more recently in some higher-end mainly off-road vehicle dashboards. Further, from a hardware standpoint, the new Messenger can also charge your phone or devices, acting as an emergency battery bank. Obviously, that's something you would want to use very carefully so you don't kill the one thing's battery you might need, but it's a great option. Just to be super clear, despite the name of the device or app, it can operate fully in standalone mode without your phone, meaning you don't need to have a charged phone to use it. You can do all the core functions even if you throw your phone in a river. With that, let's just do a quick hands-on dive into it with a deeper review for later on. Do note that all inReach devices require a subscription. This ranges from $12 per month with annual payment, $15 per month without, all the way up to $50 per month with annual payment, $65 per month without. You can suspend monthly charges, so if you only use the device certain months or seasons, then you can turn it on or off as needed. First up, let's quickly look at the tech specs and how it compares. Obviously, it's no longer a handheld device per se, though it does fit in your hand and can be held. It does have a small lanyard hole in the corner, so you can add a lanyard, but it doesn't have a full screw hook like inReach Mini Series does. On the front, you have got a small display which displays basically the same information as an inReach Mini Series device would. You will see battery status, date or time. You can use the 3 buttons below it to confirm menu items as well as get the weather, etc. This also includes either choosing quick messages or typing out an entirely love poem manually, 1 character at a time. But realistically, the idea with the Messenger is that you can use your phone connected via Bluetooth to get those long messages typed up insta-quick, and then the phone app does the relay to Satellite Communicator, saving you time. Someone can respond back to you and you will see the message both on the little LCD screen as well as on your phone if connected. Additionally, the new Messenger app supports group messages, so you can have a group chat, sending a single message multiple contacts or people individually. Sadly, cat memes don't appear to be supported here. All this happens via the Iridium satellite network unless the Messenger app has cellular or Wi-Fi connectivity. This is actually really useful because it can both be faster as well as cheaper to do this. Still, when out of range of cellular connectivity, it will use the large antenna patch on the top of the device to communicate with satellites. This is a bit different than the omnidirectional antenna found on the top of most other inReach devices. From a performance standpoint, when facing upwards, it should work a bit better than the other devices. Garmin says that as long as the device isn't entirely upside down, it will usually work in most other orientations too. Given the larger antenna size somewhat makes up for the lack of omnidirectional aspect. You can actually see which network every single message is used if you tap on the message itself. If you have enabled tracking, then it will give you a link that's your Garmin map share link that shows your historical route area. For lack of anywhere else to mention it, note that the inReach Messenger does have track back routing, which means it will help you get back to your starting point. However, it doesn't have the full route loading capability that you would find on the inReach Mini 2 or the Explorer series of devices. On the side, you have got a power button that also allows you to lock the buttons. And then to the right of that is the covered or protected SOS button. You will remove the hard plastic cover for it, which then lets you access the SOS button. Doing so triggers an entire emergency response chain that could ultimately end up with a helicopter rescuing you off mountain in Alaska or wherever. Garmin's International Emergency Response Coordination Center handles all inbound requests and then coordinates with the correct local emergency responders for wherever you are in the world. Lastly, the inReach Messenger can power your other devices using reverse charging. It's an option you'll enable in the menu, after which you can plug in a cable accordingly. There is no wireless charging here, so cable life is still a thing, but I think most people that would have an inReach in their arsenal probably have a charging cable nearby. Note that the reverse charging will charge for 20 minutes and then automatically cease charging that device. Further, it will turn off entirely once the inReach Messenger's battery is at 25% or below. And again, the main reason you would do this is to be able to send longer custom messages faster, or I suppose because you wanted to play Angry Birds in your final lovely hours out in the wilderness. Obviously, you will be burning battery on the inReach Messenger, but I could think of scenarios where perhaps getting access to safety maps or such on your phone could be just as important, even if briefly. It will show a unique charging icon on the screen indicating that reverse charging is enabled. Note that you can continuously power the inReach Messenger via USB-C, such that it would work forever power plugged into a vehicle, boat or plane, etc. In that configuration, with 10-minute tracking enabled, even if it loses power, it will still have 28 days of juice to keep providing updates. Also, it seems to stay reasonably put on a front dashboard, whereas the inReach Mini series will kinda fumble around. Obviously, this isn't plugged in, but a simple cable fixes that. Perhaps down the road we will see some sort of a car window mount or something. And that gets to the final battery bits. The inReach Messenger has up to 28 days of battery with 10-minute tracking, or up to 46 days with 30-minute tracking. That's compared to the inReach Mini 2 at 14 days for 10-minute tracking and 30 days for 30-minute tracking. Both devices are IPX7 water resistant. The new Messenger app will also become available via firmware update for the GPS MAP 66i, Montana 700i or 750i, Alpha 200i and the inReach Mini 2 units. The timelines on that aren't solidified yet. Once enabled though, with the Messenger app, those devices will be able to utilize the cellular or Wi-Fi connectivity options when in range. At first glance, the Messenger didn't make a ton of sense to me compared to the existing inReach Mini 2. However, the more I dug into it, the more I figured out its place in life. To begin, it actually has better battery than the Mini 2, basically double, while also having some handy features like reverse charging. Of course, it lacks the routing options of the Mini 2, as well as some of the mounting flexibility of sticking it on a carabiner of my backpack, like I typically do. So for primarily hiking and other adventures where your son's vehicle, the Mini 2 still makes the most sense. But in many ways, I think the inReach Messenger is probably more of an all-rounder, meaning it easily hangs out on a dashboard of an off-road vehicle, boat or plane, probably via, I am sure, mounts soon too. And having longer battery life helps in those scenarios where you just want to leave it in the vehicle all the time, occasionally getting topped off when you turn on said vehicle, and yet it's still small enough to toss in a backpack pocket and know it's there if you need it. This new Messenger app was sorely needed, and I look forward to seeing the other devices getting firmware updates to support. While the existing Explorer app means well, it's just really confusing to use. Every time I import a route, it's seemingly called or categorized as something different, and none of which is integrated into Garmin Connect, where all my routes hang out for all my other Garmin devices. It doesn't sound like Messenger will get the routing etc. bits from Explore, so that's still be needed. All of which makes it even more confusing for existing Garmin user. Garmin's at the point where their core audience for inReach is someone that has other Garmin wearables or devices. Undoubtedly, Long-term, Garmin will probably have to tweak some of their pricing and subscription plans in response to Apple, but not today. For the moment, Garmin's feature set is far wider and deeper, and such costs a premium. That said, Garmin is going to see a boatload of media coverage of the Apple Satellite SOS feature over the coming months or years. And virtually all of those articles are going to reference Garmin inReach. Garmin would be wise to think about how they can capture the interest and sales of those that might curiously poke at inReach devices or subscription costs for the first time based on newfound media attention while the iron is still hot. Today, navigating the device or plan landscape is just really complex for someone who has never heard of inReach or how it works. In any case, more down the road as I test this more. Thanks for watching the video. If you like the video, feel free to share with your friends and keep watching Review Arena to get your top-notch day-to-day commodities reviewed to get this product at a very special price.